Welcome to Hashtag General. I'm one of your hosts, Logan Seedley, and joining me as always via Discord, Chris Akamura. How you doing, Chris?
Very good and tired, but
Good and
otherwise,
tired.
just
Yeah,
we're good.
I
What's going on?
mean, not much. It sounds like you're the one who had the exciting week.
Yeah. So yeah, it's Samantha's first week of actual school, so that's
Yeah,
been fun.
but from what you tell me, she's enjoying it, which is good. And now, how much of it is because she's allowed now to leave the house after like almost 18 months, and how much of it is being able to socialize, and how much of it is like learning? Like, what do you think the big plus is for her?
I think everything. I think she made a best friend on the way on like her first day, so they're
Nice.
like inseparable now, and they hold hands and stuff like that and walk around. It's cute. But she enjoys her teachers. She enjoys playing with other kids. I think she enjoys learning. Um, you know, it, she likes the whole experience of it, and I think being cooped inside may have something to do with it. But just in general, she just likes to do stuff, and she's always been that way.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, she's having a real good time. So couldn't be happier and more. And I was a little worried to see how this was going to go, but she's having a great time. So
Yeah, because there's like the whole COVID lockdown adds like just such an extra layer of concern because, I mean, you've always been mostly at home in some way, like her entire life. But even then, like COVID meant everyone was more around. So
yeah,
it's like it feels like it would be a bigger shift for someone to go into kindergarten now after 18 months of lockdown than it would have been in the normal times.
yeah,
Where you be more used to the idea of being not always around a parent. So well, it's good that she's made that shift and is adjusted. But what else have you been up to? Just work and trying to keep your life together.
pretty much. I mean, it's been pretty. Again, stressful is the wrong word because it's not like I'm dying over here doing whatever. But I mean, like it's been just hectic, trying to keep everything stable. We have some work stuff going on. Like I mentioned earlier, where we may be hiring interns soon. So that's
Yeah,
um my first time hiring interns at this new job, kind of a thing. So let's see.
hiring's
But
always. I mean, I'm in the middle of a hiring spree at the same time, and hiring is always like we were
yeah,
Chris and I were talking a bit before we started going live, and we both work in fields like my job isn't exclusive to social media, but a lot of it is social media, and I'm looking at applications specifically for social media, and it is. And you said the same thing, where the amount of resumes you get from people who you just look at the resume and you're like, this person just thinks it's going to be easy and it's just an escape, is too damn high. Just
yeah,
like you get so many resumes from people who aren't even remotely
qualified.
qualified because there's this idea that I'm on Instagram. I'm on Instagram like hours a day. Like I can do it as a job, and it's like there's more to it than I'm on the internet. It's especially if you're doing like anything for a company like or an organization, anytime where you're not speaking for yourself, you or like something you control, but like on the behalf of, in some cases, like corporations worth like millions, you kind of need to be buttoned up in a way that a
Yeah,
lot of
it just
people
takes a little
aren't.
bit more. There's like a tact to it, and again, there's people underestimate the value of being able to write compact and simple copy.
Mm-hmm.
It's very it's very hard to get a message across um, in a very subtle and compact way. It's hard. The
Yeah, because even people who have worked in like a marketing or PR space, I sometimes go have to push back on them because they're like, "Well, can't we just make that two tweets?" And I was like, "No, you
well,
shouldn't."
yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
it wants.
yeah, you got to do it in one. If you have to make it two tweets, then you've already like messed up your messaging because not everyone is going to see that second tweet. And I'm like, the only time I've seen companies do like 2 tweets in a row, it's when something bad has happened and they're issuing an apology. Like
Yeah.
that's the only times like you really
Or
note.
if you're like specifically subtweeting like a link or something.
Exactly. Or you have like a very intentional thread. Like you
Yeah.
have to do it with like specific intent. And if you're only doing 2 tweets, then that's not good enough. And I have to constantly
Hmm.
remind people that.
Yeah.
But it's and each platform is its own beast. So it's just very interesting that we're both kind of dealing with that, and just the amount of people where it's just like, no, I'm sorry, but no. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing with at work. But James and I, and this is something I will like to discuss like way later in the future because we're still in the first season. I have got James and I are doing a watch of Battlestar Galactica. It is James's first time through. It is my God knows how manyth time. Um, I know Chris, you've seen the reimagined series, the one from 2004, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm
when
not
we
like
get
I'm not like a mega fan, but I have seen it. And I do enjoy it.
yeah, it's one of those things where I have questions that I know I'm going to want to ask James when this after we get to the end. So that's just something uh sorry, James. There's a future involved with asking questions of you. So we've been watching that, and that's kind of been like the big thing. I haven't been doing as much playing of games, but we'll go into one of the reasons why here in a bit. But if there's nothing else here, I said we move on to the next item on our little general list of Disneyland passes.
Yeah. So this Wednesday.
This Wednesday, and I've done my research now finally because I didn't know about it when we did our last broadcast. And are you sticking with the 400 level like SoCal exclusive?
I am.
Yeah,
And there's like multiple reasons why. Just because I don't want to go on the weekend and during like the summer anyway. It's something
yeah,
that like it bothers me when like crowds bother me and like I just don't want to go. So we live close enough where doing Monday through Wednesday works fine. And plus like you know I looked at Samantha's school schedule. She has a lot of Mondays off,
oh
as
nice.
as in the school system you do. you know um so we should be fine to like do stuff and have a good time, but
Yeah,
you know
I
are
decided
you
that
leaning towards something else?
I'm gonna go with the one tier up, and
Ooh.
part of that is uh I know I can get time off on weekdays, but I'm not in a position where I can as easily escape on like
Right.
that Monday through Wednesday period. Like if I did it, I would have to like plan that a few weeks in advance at least. Um and there's no guarantee that my schedule will actually work out for that. But also on the flip side, because our friends Kelly and Charles are gonna get like the super awesome, crazy, we can go any day of the year pass that is gonna cost them like the one that's like I think over a grand.
1200.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
the twelve
1200.
hundred dollar one. So if I was in, I know based on their work schedules, the only time they're gonna go are weekends, or that's gonna be the primary time they go. And if I want to go with them, I would need to get a pass that could at least get me in on maybe not every weekend, maybe not every day of a weekend, but can get me in on like enough to where it would be possible for me to just kind of go down with them for a day. And the step up, I forget what it's called, but it's like the $600 level, I think. Uh, you don't get every weekend. And for like early spring, so like around the time like spring breaks are happening, they block out, I think, Saturdays.
Hmm.
But for like the fall, I would be able to go like Saturday or Sunday from like September through like mid November. I could go Saturday, Sunday, like January and February. I could go Sundays like March through May. It's just like those would be the times I'd be where I'd most likely go anyway. Um, if I was to go on a weekend, because like you, I don't. It's so hot in the summer, and the crowds is so crowded just based off it's summer season. I just wouldn't want to go to Disneyland. Bad enough to pay the extra money to get all those extra days to where like just
Yeah.
getting the step up takes care of that one outstanding thing, was just I would not be able to go with Kelly and Charles whenever they went down, and I was like, you know what, I'll just do one step up so that way I can do the weekends on occasion. But
Yeah.
otherwise, yeah, I'm not. I don't see myself going like every month, and I think
Yeah.
that big most expensive pass, like if you're not going every month, it probably isn't worth it.
Yeah.
And Kelly and Charles are the type of people who go every month, so makes sense for them, not necessarily for me. So yeah, that was my thing, is I was gonna get the next step up. But yeah, you and I, we need to sit down at some point and figure out like a good day, that for a good weekday in the middle of a week that I know I'll be able to step away, so we can do another Disneyland trip.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super down.
Yeah. But the other thing too was like, I know that between you and I wanting to go again, the fact I would go with Kelly and Charles on a weekend at some point. My sister, I mean, it's going to be like her birthday present, is taking her to, we're going to go to Disneyland for like a day or something. I already know that just for me, I would probably spend more on day passes than I would on the annual pass, just based off like booking ahead at the next 6 months.
Yeah.
So it'd be, if that's my planning, it'd be foolish not to get something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And so this is kind of the funny thing where, talking, so passes came out, and I honestly think like the Magic Pass system, obviously they don't have anything as good as like the Flex Pass,
Mm-hmm.
that was there previously, which I think is still the best pass in Disney history. But I will say, did you see all this stuff that's going with like Disney Genie Plus?
Yes,
Like,
actually, I was going to ask you about that. I haven't looked at
so
Genie Plus specifically, or actually, no, I watched their video. I think
yeah,
Genie
so
alone is going to make it easier for Disney to like accommodate crowds.
yeah, and so like, look, a lot of people are calling this like the Chepik era, because like like this is his MO, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, and so I can see how people can get that messaging across, but like I like the idea of the Genie app.
I do
I really
too.
do.
When I watched the little quick YouTube video that they had on the Genie app, and I was like, oh,
Do
that's
you see the
perfect.
13-minute one that walks you through the whole thing?
No.
Yeah,
I
explain it to me.
Okay.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Okay.
Genie app.
Chris, why don't you explain?
So James, Disney Genie app is an experience within the My Disney app that's going to change and revolutionize the way that you experience Disneyland. So James, what it does is when you log into the My Disney app, and you click My Genie, it essentially is like a Microsoft wizard for like explaining to you how, or like planning out and scheduling out your day at Disneyland.
Clippy in the form of Genie will literally pop up and be like, "Hey, it looks like you're planning a Disneyland trip."
Yeah, so then you'll walk into the park and you open the thing, and the Genie will be like, "What do you want to do today?" And so you put in like, "I want to go to Space Mountain eventually. I want to go to Pirates of the Caribbean. I want to eat here. I want to do this and this and this." So then once you give the Genie kind of like a general idea of the things that you want to do, the Genie will pop out a schedule and an itinerary based around general wait times, historic wait times, every piece of information that it knows about the parks and what lines might look like at certain times.
Will
And
it like
plans
reserve like fast passes for you automatically?
You can.
No,
I think that's part of
no,
the plus, like the paid.
that's part of Plus.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
I guess it could like say go get the fast pass at this place on your itinerary.
yeah, so that's the general idea, is like it'll give you an itinerary of like, cool, lines should be shorter for Space Mountain around 3 o'clock. Go there at 3 o'clock. Or like, hey, the restaurant you want to eat at has reservations open at 5. Go there.
And you
Stuff
can even
like
book
that.
the reservation.
Yeah. So
Um,
the thing that's pissing people off is that they are getting rid of the fast pass system. They're now called lightning lanes, and you have to pay for them by using the Disney Genie Plus app, which costs $20 a day per person.
yeah.
Per person?
And then
Yikes.
and then you're given access to the Lightning lanes, which basically is new Fast Pass.
Yeah. The other thing too, and I don't know if
But in
this.
terms of free Fast Pass lane, those are gone.
Yeah, the other thing
Boo.
too is the itinerary thing will update throughout the day. So if
Yeah.
things change, it will give you like a better schedule. It'll be like, oh hey, lines are no longer at Space Mountain, but shorter at this other ride you wanted to do. You can go and grab that other ride now.
Can you like be wearing like a Bluetooth earbud and it'll like announce to you like a GPS like, hey,
Yeah.
next
It'll
on
give you
your
a pop-up
itinerary,
notification.
but like in like a robotic genie voice.
Oh, I don't know.
Like that would be the hardest voice to
Rob
imitate
Williams
by a
impression?
computer.
Yeah, hire Dan Castellaneta. He did Genie on the Aladdin TV show. Just Homer as Genie. There you go. Problem solved. But no, I look at the Genie Plus features as you don't live near a Disney park and you're taking your kids here for 2 days. You're gonna spend the $20 to make sure they get every ride they want. Whereas for like you and me, Chris, I don't see us doing it because it's just like,
Oh no, man! I understood that Fast Pass system like the fucking back of my hand.
yeah. Because did we use Fast Pass at
Yes.
all?
Yes,
We used it for Space Mountain, right?
I don't know. I used to use Fast Passes for everything. I think me and you used it for that, and we used it for Indiana Jones because the guy led us through the Fast
Well,
Pass.
yeah,
lane
we
through
got on the
Fast
Fast Pass lane for Indiana Jones because of it was actually a good customer service thing where it
Yes.
just apparently there had been an issue with stores or like little consumer shops in Disneyland holding people's Galaxy's Edge gear that they bought because like you couldn't take the lightsaber on Indiana Jones, only to discover that something had happened like 2 days prior and they had to change policies because I don't know, like someone either misplaced an item for a guest or it would get mixed up, so guests were getting like the wrong stuff back, so they just stopped. And we just happened to get it when not everyone realized that change had taken place. So the guy was like very apologetic and let us cut in line. But yeah, no, that was nice because that Indiana Jones line was crazy long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess if we were doing like I can see myself doing it the first time because I haven't done Rise of the Resistance. Like I can see.
Oh, that's the other thing too. So this is actually kind of the scummy part. So James, not only are you paying now for Fast Pass access or Lightning Lane access, not every ride is available via the Lightning Lane. So general rides, what they're calling general rides, are available via the Lightning Lane. But premium attraction Lightning lanes will be separate from that system, and you can pay for them a la carte. You don't need the Disney Genie Plus.
Ooh.
So you can pay for Rise of the Resistance. I think
You pay for just like cut in line pass. Okay. Like you just like give them $5 and just get right in line right there, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Or whatever, $20.
Yeah, so like Rise of the Resistance, Smuggler's Run, Space Mountain. The popular ones are a la carte.
How much is it?
We don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
I would assume like
Soon.
$5.
Yeah, if it's $5 to like do a line, like there are some rides where it'd be like, screw it, let's do it. But
Yeah,
if it's like $10, then it's like they need to have it hit that.
$5 to me is like the max.
Yeah, because that's the perfect price point in that it is low enough that people are going to just be willing to pay it, but not high enough that some people are going to be like, why? Like that way you're not getting the fast pass inundated. But no, like I was doing my research, looking at blackout dates and everything last week, trying to figure out which pass to get. So I'm interested to see how that Genie works out. Like I am tempted to like when we do our trip to be like, these are the rides and just let Genie guide us and just see how it goes.
Yeah. Could be fun.
But yeah. Disneyland coming soon. Let's move on.
We're gonna do quality 3 from Disneyland.
Yeah, we'll do a quality
in the
check.
park.
All right, so James and I got a TV. This is the reason I wanted to make this a topic is like this is one of those cases where it was just like, holy crap, I can't believe we pulled this off. So as we've talked about on the show in the past, James and I had been looking before we moved. We had been looking at TVs for the old place because just my TV was just too damn small.
Right.
And so we had kind of already settled on like a TCL 6 series or a TCL 5 series, but it just never went on sale or hit a price point where we were like, yes, let's do it. And then the move happened, and it just kind of was like well, we'll worry about it later. But because I had been looking at them for so long, I kept getting like alerts from Best Buy whenever they had a TV sale. And so I'd still been like following. And I happened to notice, and I think a lot of this is just having moved from one residence to another where we're within range of a different Best Buy. More options were available. And so I happened to be looking through Best Buy after one of their alerts one day and realized that they had an open box of the 75-inch TCL 6 series for about $1,200. And this is a TV that retails for closer to $18. So I was like, oh, hey, $600 off. That's not a bad deal. Talked to James and we went, okay, let's just check it out just to see if we think it's worth it. And we get there and there's like a scratch, but it's on the screen, but it's not bad. Like when the TV was turned on, we didn't notice. And we're kind of just sitting there going, is it worth $600? Like savings, like we don't really necessarily need the TV right now. It'd be nice to get one. But so we were kind of going back and forth, and the Best Buy clerk literally comes up to us as we're kind of just muttering. He's like, okay, so my boss just told me we can only go as low as $900. We got that TV for basically half retail price.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like like the website had it like $300-$400 more, and we're bickering over that. They come and are like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like half price. I think James and I just like looked at each other and just turned to the clerk, and we're both like, done. We're like, yeah, we were no bargaining here. We were like, done. We bought that TV, and we've learned there's a few issues with it in that if you have its brightness setting, I forget what it was, but like there's a brightness setting that we didn't like. It was too high anyway, but like because you have
it's like those kind of like profiles, like those like setting profiles that kind of keep turning on the motion smoothing, and like even though you don't want it.
Yeah, and so it would turn on like motion smoothing, but it had another problem we ran into when we were watching Jungle Cruise, which we'll talk about here in a sec, where I think one of those profiles, like the area dimming lights, the backlights, would just be on and wouldn't actually adjust. And so you would have like these weird like blocks on the screen that were just a little brighter than everything else. But only on like that one profile we didn't like anyway. Other than that, I don't think we've run into any like technical issue with the TV.
I mean, just like wildly confusing menus.
Yeah.
And like you kind of have to log into it to do anything, which is annoying.
Oh gosh,
yeah.
You have to like have a Roku account.
I had to sign up and get like a Roku account to use it, and I'm like, I got a new Apple TV for it. I'm like, I'm not even gonna use the Roku stuff, but in order to like, and this is an annoying thing, in order to do like a calibration, like they had an app that would let you calibrate the screen. In order to use the app, you had to be logged into your Roku account. And once you connect the TV to the internet, it will immediately be like, hey, I used to be connected to the internet. I've lost my internet connection.
Like light on the front, like blink, 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 blink.
Which is now taped over. But the annoying thing is it's also the IR receiver. So it's just like, so there's like some quality of life stuff that we're just like about, but it's only when we're like changing settings.
I mean, yeah, it's like I think whatever concern of like having the TV plugged into the internet is like not that big a deal, but do you want to kind of explain the reasoning behind that?
It's because my reasoning behind it is the fact that a lot of these TV manufacturers aren't really upfront with that, with the smart TV stuff, that once you set up a smart TV, it's by default phones home details about the content you're watching.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, that's how everything on the internet works, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's how it should work. But where it also comes into an issue is some of these TVs have been found to be like really bad network hogs. Like they will phone home way too much to where it will actually impact the performance of your network. Our Wi-Fi is fast enough, it probably wouldn't actually impact network performance. But like if your parents or someone who isn't technically, like, doesn't buy their own router, just uses the modem and router that comes from their internet provider, like, those systems aren't that good, and it could actually, like, really bottleneck your network. And then, yeah, so it's like a combination of, it's just kind of scummy, because they're, like, for a company like Vizio, which makes pretty decent TVs, their revenue is now, like, 50-50 advertising, which means they're incentivized as much as, like, to not respect your privacy as much as possible because it generates them revenue. Samsung has been caught enabling their microphone without notifying users so they can listen in and sell that information to advertisers. It's just, they're not good actors because it's not like a computer or the internet where there is some understanding or expectation, and also it's hard for those systems to gain access to those devices in the computer without getting authorization from the user.
Yeah.
Whereas with the TV, no one would assume that. Like, I bought the TV, I don't necessarily want them to have my viewing info. So yeah, I'll disconnect it from the internet. I'll plug it in whenever I need to do an update, and then I'll unplug it. Like, it doesn't even have our Wi-Fi password. Like, it's, if we're ever going to do anything like that, we'll just plug in an Ethernet cable. But
Right.
So yeah, Microsoft and Apple can get all the data they want from me. Roku and TCL, they're SOL.
I mean, they would basically just know, like, there is a TV that has watched these things, but, like, how would they know it's your TV? Unless they just, like, are in cahoots with Google, which already knows everything.
Even if TCL doesn't necessarily know it's you, it would not be hard for an advertiser who buys that information from them to corroborate that information with other information they've gathered from other sources to create a profile about you. That's the big problem with tracking and advertising on the internet right now. It isn't necessarily that one party gathers all of this bad information and creates this full profile. It's like you only need 2 or 3 sources of information, and they can create some pretty detailed, pretty disturbing, like, granular profiles about a person that is supposedly anonymized, but not that hard to figure out. New York Times has done some pieces about how they've been able to track people who were a part of a certain sedition action back in January. And it's crazy how detailed they were able to get it. And it was just because someone leaked them a bunch of advertising tracking info. And when they wrote about it, they weren't to be like, look at this bad person who did this sedition. They're like, here's how this could be bad for you. If you were actually innocent, it would not be hard for someone to go through, pull all this data, and actually sit there and be like, oh, no, you were here at this thing doing this one thing. Even if you were an innocent bystander, like 50 feet away, or you were working as, like, a member of the press, it is disturbing the level of details they can get from just a few different sources. Between all of someone would need to get that information beyond just what TV shows you watch, they would just need to get some information from a cell phone provider. And then maybe, like, Google. Take those 3 things, and they have a pretty full profile on James Olsen.
Like, I don't doubt that this exists. I feel like, isn't your TV's viewing information kind of just like a drop in the bucket, just because if you're watching everything via streaming anyway, you know, like what's to stop Netflix from
Yeah, they
like
know.
or like any of the streaming platforms that you use? Like I'm sure they're selling that data, right? So I mean, it's just like I get it, and it is like an additional invasion of privacy, but it just seems like for people who use the internet in a lot of other ways on a regular basis, it's just like,
Well, I think the thing here, though, is Netflix actually doesn't share a lot of that viewing data.
that we know of. But like your whole, like, you're concerned about the TV is that they're sort of untrustworthy, even though they're saying they're not, you know. And I think it's just like every company is kind of exactly like that. If
Well,
they
yeah,
can,
but
if they
just
have a
because
bunch of
every
information.
company is exactly like that doesn't mean I should just roll over and take it. If I can stop it or control it in some way, I might as well do it. And I know Apple doesn't sell that information. And Microsoft, their business model really isn't dependent on that. They do some weird shady advertising shit with Windows 10. Doesn't necessarily mean that that is their primary point with like the Xbox. A lot of those details and information that say like an Apple would pull, a Netflix would pull, or a Microsoft would pull are going to be used internally. And that doesn't bother me as much as someone taking that information, turning around and selling it to whoever wants to buy it.
Yeah. I mean, I see your point. My thing is just like I've kind of given up protecting my data in a certain way because I know like fuck, there's just no way for me to protect it. So I'm like, why give myself the headache?
Yeah.
And like again, that's part of me of like I have nothing to hide. B, there's nothing interesting about me. Like there's like fucking. You want to know what I'm watching? That's fine. Like who gives a shit?
I mean, between as much as it's like, oh, I can't stop it. I like to kind of like jump ahead to like the next version of iOS, even though, good God, Apple's whole hash thing with child pornography is like like it is such a complex thing that the reason it hasn't been a topic on here is because it is just there's too many details to go through in our format. But ignoring that fiasco and just looking at some of the stuff Apple's doing with like iCloud Plus privacy features and how Safari and the next version of iOS and macOS will work, it goes from being like, I can't stop it to now it's almost going to be impossible for a lot of these trackers to actually track you.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's going to be harder for these advertisers to do the work, so I might as well not make it easier for them to do it. And the
Right.
other thing too is we're not using the Roku built-in features as a smart TV anyway, so why even have it plugged in? Like like I got the Apple TV because I wanted an Apple TV because it integrates with like all of the Apple stuff I have. Not because of the privacy thing. For me, the privacy thing's a damn bonus. It's just I have never been a big fan of any smart TVs, smart features. They always seem to be half-baked. So I was like, yeah.
Except that there's a annoying blinking light that we have to cover up, and now the remote doesn't really work. Like that's the pain in the ass forever. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
We shall train a new remote. We'll figure it out. But anyway, speaking of TV, we watched on this TV Jungle Cruise. Have you seen it yet, Chris?
I've watched the first like 20 minutes and then I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I can continue to watch this.
Like, I enjoyed it. It's The Mummy.
Yeah.
It is like I don't know.
It's your standard rock action, corny
Yeah.
action film.
It's a very
And so,
corny action mummy.
Yeah. And like the thing is, I could watch it. I don't think it's horrible. My thing was just like when the time I watched it, I was like, I don't need to watch this right now. And then I never had the desire to go back to it.
Yeah,
And it was like man, I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish this movie.
that's
Like,
fair.
It's like, and even if I did, maybe I'd enjoy it, but like for the most part, it'd be pretty much just like a movie I'd have on in the background and something that's like pretty forgettable.
Yeah, I'd probably be in the same boat as you if we didn't have company over. Like Kelly
Yeah,
Charles were over watching it. So it was like me, James, Jeff, Kelly Charles all watching it. So there was kind of a like it wasn't like we were gonna sit there and be like, pause. I'm not feeling this anymore. It's enjoyable. It's
yeah,
fun. But I wouldn't be singing like high praises to it.
yeah.
Um
It was kind of thing of like I was sitting there, I was like, cool, let me go watch Jungle Cruise. And I watched like 20 minutes of it, and I was like, you know what, I got other stuff I'd rather be doing.
yeah.
And then I just never went back to it. And I was like, I'll go back eventually when like I'm feeling it. But like I haven't felt it, and I'm like, oh, concerning.
Yeah, but the big thing for me, and James, you might as well just flip to the next item. It wasn't necessarily Jungle Cruise. It was like, oh, hey, it was. We've been talking about on the podcast before, like the concept of like with stuff like Premiere on Disney Plus, how HBO Max is doing day and date releases. Like, are we at or past the inflection point of whether or not people are gonna like stay home and watch it on their big screen TV or go to the theater? And after, because like, yeah, we had company over, we did like a whole barbecue thing. By the time it was all said and done, what we would have spent on the movie ticket if we had gone to the theater, we had rented the movie and made ourselves dinner, and we didn't have to go to the theater.
Yeah.
And it almost kind of keyed in this thing where, for me, like we've already talked about how it was approaching this to where a bunch of movies that had been on my potential watch list, I'm finding myself now being like, how badly do I really want to go see this in the theaters? Like I've said for a while that the next movie I was going to see in the theater was like the one I would really want to see in the theater is Dune. And I realized after watching Jungle Cruise that I'm like, Dune might be the only one coming out this year that I'm like, that I actually feel like I need to see in theaters. Like Shang-Chi, if they hadn't already said it wasn't getting premiere access, I would be planning to get it premiere access.
Oh, I want to see that movie in theater so bad. Oh my god.
I want to see it too. But it just was one of those things where I was just like, man, if I was given the option, I would just invite everyone over and we do what we did with Jungle Cruise.
I don't know, man. Like the thing is for me, and like this goes back to even like us working at ArcLight or stuff where it's like there's certain movies and like certain genres of movies that like I want to see on a big screen in a theater. And like to me, a Marvel film fits that bill.
Yeah, I think a
Like,
Marvel film, as much as I would be like, oh, I would just rent it with Premiere, I think a Marvel film would still generate enough of an audience where it would be worth seeing it with the larger audience. It's the same thing with Star Wars, where
yeah,
I would go pay and see the Star Wars movie no matter what. And a lot, if you go opening night or opening weekend, you're probably going to get a very appreciative audience. But I'm a huge Bond fan, and I'm looking at No Time to Die. I was really looking forward to seeing No Time to Die, and I'm now sitting there going, am I gonna wait? Because
that's another one to me that I think that's a theater movie.
yeah. But that's the thing is, there are these theater movies. I now have this giant TV that looks really good. If we
That's
watch
true.
it late at night and turn off the lights, like we're gonna get a decent experience. I'm not losing out if like I would be if I was like watching on my iPad or my computer.
I mean, Logan, do you see the trailer for Eternals? That
I
movie
did.
looked insane. There's some visuals in the movie that I need to see on a bigger screen.
Just go sit really close to the screen.
Yeah, come over here. You
Just
can
put
sit,
like your
3 feet
reading
away.
glasses on.
Are you gonna give me shitty 3D glasses too?
Well, any 3D glasses with our TV would be shitty because we don't have 3D. But no,
They
it's
did
just,
like that red blue 3D, that real old stuff.
yeah, but it's just like I've found just with our new edition that the paradigm has shifted even harder to the idea of where like I need a compelling reason to not watch it at home.
It's fair.
And it's just, I think that's the reality of it, is as more of these like larger, higher quality, like Dolby Vision capable TVs enter people's houses. Like right now, it might be early, but 5 years from now, like I feel like the trend, like all COVID did was put this trend of where we thought the industry was going into high drive, and I'm wondering if like we're even closer to the thing that Spielberg and Lucas talked about, I want to say a decade ago, where the movie theater was going to start being like more akin to like, maybe not Broadway might be the wrong way to put it, but like going to, like you are going to a show where it becomes like it's a more expensive ticket. It's something you plan for. It's not, the movie theater stops being a whim.
Right.
And I just feel like it's just, now that we've experienced it, like James and I at least have experienced it in our own home, like I feel like we're that much closer to where it's like, I need a damn good reason to go see that movie on a big screen, especially if I can get it same day and date.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well,
Any
right.
other comments, thoughts?
No, that's about it. I think, just seeing the, and again, I think it depends on like what you're a fan of and stuff like that. But like to me, it goes back to the thing of like, yeah, there's certain films that like I just want to see in a theater, and it just there's no, you couldn't sell me on the idea of like buying this film or seeing it for the first time on Premiere Access. But again, that's personal preference, and I think like it's going to wildly differ from person to person.
Yeah.
So,
but one final thing on the TV. When I was doing, we are still planning for production, got pushed because of the move, but Mass Effect looks amazing on that screen.
oh my god, I'm so excited to like, and this goes back to the thing of like you're showing James Battlestar Galactica. I'm so excited for you to like experience Mass Effect.
No,
it's such...
this TV is the only like there. I won't go into it too deep on broadcast just because there's some like technical stuff. But the reason why we're able to record it the way, the test video I sent you, the only reason we can record it that way is because of the TV, and it just looks amazing. So
I was gonna ask you. So obviously you sent me spoilers. We have test footage for how we're gonna record this Mass Effect thing. To me the genius of Mass Effect and the thing that's so great about it is that intro section hooks you so quickly.
James was like, "Wait, you're gonna stop playing?" I'm like, "Yes."
It was cruel. Like, it was so cruel.
What?
I was saying it was really cruel of you to be like, "Hey, like, you have to wait now for X amount of time."
Yeah, but
because it is the opening of that game hooks you so hard.
Yeah, no,
and it's wonderful.
I brought my computer down like the first weekend we had the TV. So it was like last weekend. I brought the computer down really briefly to do both that test and just to see like what other games looked like. And my God, Dolby Vision is amazing. Anyway, speaking of games and tests and other stuff, James, why don't we switch to the next topic with games?
Before we dive too deep into games, Pokemon Unite comes out to mobile September 22nd for anyone that is interested.
Cool. I should, based on what you described, I should at least give it a shot.
Yes.
But I got another new toy in addition to the new TV.
Yes.
I got another toy to go with it. I got a Xbox Series X. I got it with all access, so Game Pass Ultimate and all that. I spent the past day or two downloading a bunch of games. And the big reason I got it, and I think I've told you this, Chris, we have a 4K TV. I have 4K Blu-rays. I have no way of playing, or had no way to play 4K Blu-rays. A 4K Blu-ray player, like a good one, is around $200. An Xbox Series X, which can play a 4K Blu-ray, is around $500 and can also play games.
Yeah.
Why not? Like,
Yeah, there's really no reason not to.
yeah, that has been my whole like thought behind it. It was I'm like, if I would have a harder time spending $200 on a device that just did 4K Blu-rays than I would spending $500 on the Xbox, because there are some games that I've wanted to play that are console exclusive because they like absolutely refuse to some reason port over the NHL games. So there's like little things like that where there are been some console exclusive games or some games where I would almost rather play it on the TV or on a console than my computer. And it's just like, you know what? I know I'll take advantage of it. I'm pretty sure James might play something on there, like especially since Microsoft now owns Bethesda. I downloaded like all of the old Elder Scroll games, and I know James enjoyed playing those. So it's just like download those on there. Downloaded a couple other games, and it's just like we might as well have the system. And it's that thing puts out a lot of heat.
It does. Out of the top, right?
Yeah, we have it on its side right now.
Oh, okay.
Just because the way our current setup is just like if it was standing straight up, it just was like kind of just stood out a little more than we wanted. And so it's like you put your hand along its side and it's just like a heat, like it's like a dryer. But no, I haven't really put it through its paces yet. But given the fact the last time I had bought an Xbox and used an Xbox was an Xbox 360, like I skipped an entire generation. Some of like the user, like, first off, Game Pass, just being able to be like, yes, I'm going to download this, I'm going to download this, I'm going to download this. Like, being able to like just build up this library very quickly was really just nice. It's just be like, yes. The fact, too, that they've gone through, and I think it's kind of weird that, like, I have Red Dead Redemption for 360, and you had to put it in the drive to play, but it's playing it off a download.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. But I don't know, like didn't really get to spend too much time with it because it arrived yesterday, like around noon, and then we had D&D at like 4:00. So it was just like, I only had like a couple hours playtime with it. But
I'm excited though. I'm excited for you guys. That's super exciting. The
like,
TV plus that.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where it just was like really nice to just. I mean, I downloaded NHL first because I figured it would download faster than like some of the bigger games, and it just was like it was nice to just sit down in front of the TV again and play like that game.
Yeah,
like it was one of those things where I am fortunate that my hunt for the Xbox really didn't kick in until we got the TV, and the fact I was able to get it within a couple weeks just by watching and paying attention, I think was, luck. Because there's still people out there trying to get one. But I think the difference too is it seems like a lot of people are trying to get the standalone console, and while all access is made available less often, it seems like they just don't go through their stock as quickly. So, yeah, I was able to pick it up.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Wednesday. Yeah, I think I either picked it up Wednesday or Thursday and it arrived Saturday. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, we are all 4K now.
Yeah. Real.
But yeah, it's I'll give more updates as time goes on. But what I'm honestly really looking forward to Halo again.
Yeah,
even though that one's going to be on PC, I'm still looking forward to like having it on the console.
Yeah, that first flight was a lot of fun, so I had a good time.
Yeah, but let's move on. Like, this might be one of the very rare quick episodes for us.
Yeah.
All right. So Bad Batch is the current topic up there, but before we go into it, did you watch the Star Wars Visions trailer at all?
I did. I'm super excited. It reminds
It
me of the
looks
Animatrix.
it looks so cool. It's
Yeah.
like if someone said anime Star Wars, and I'm like, this is pretty damn close to what I would want.
Yeah.
Um,
It reminds me of like the Animatrix or like the Legends series for Halo that they did, or
mhm.
like it's anytime they did a Mass Effect 1 too. I think it was called Legacies or something like that. But yeah, anytime they're doing any of this stuff, I'm in.
Yeah, I always take stuff like this as, and I don't know how Lucasfilm went about this, or I always take it as like canon light, or like the
Yeah.
general event, like events depicted are probably canon, but like the specifics are up for debate. Just because, and my reasoning for that is there, especially with some formats like anime, I want them to do a full anime embellishment of some stuff that I know just isn't how the Star Wars universe works.
Yeah.
But I want them to do it anyway. So I'll take it with a person probably may not have done the whole anime thing, but the general story probably true.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. And I know
Yeah.
I'm behind. I need to watch What If with Marvel so we can talk about
What If
that.
is so good, dude. And like, I know we have to talk about Bad Batch, but like, I'm still behind on Bad Batch, but I'm 100% caught up on What If, and like, the first episode hooked me. The second episode is incredible. It's dedicated to Chadwick Boseman. It's his last time playing T'Challa, so it's a meaningful episode. You can tell they put a lot into it, and like that episode made me so excited to like. I'm now waiting for the rest of them. Like I'm gonna watch them frame one as soon as they drop on Disney Plus. Like it those hooked me in a way that like Bad Batch didn't, which is concerning to me about Bad Batch. And like
Yeah.
I'm not in a rush to finish Bad Batch, which is like again concerning.
James, can
Um
you throw up the spoiler tag?
and then like yeah, it's just a thing of yeah, like I should be excited for Bad Batch, and it's like I'm not. And I was like, okay, well, and I know you're caught up and you're finished, and
I
like
am.
I'm curious on your thoughts on how this whole season has gone so far.
It was
But
I think
oh,
actually, sorry, continue and I'll get my
no, go
thoughts.
for it.
I think I saw a Polygon headline last week. And the moment I read that, I'm like, that kind of sums up my feelings about this show entirely. Bad Batch is all about world building and less about character.
Yeah,
And I think that is a perfect description of this series. It is all about the world building. It's all about showing the switch from Republic to Empire. And characters are kind of almost a secondary thought. And I finished the season and don't feel like it ever kicked in the way Rebels did with season 1, where you had almost like a turn where it went from being like, oh, they're just this rugged group of rebels to, oh crap, Tarkin's here, shit's about to go down. And shit went down. This,
right.
like, it's not a bad show, but like you, like, I made sure to finish Loki when we were in the middle of the move. Like, I did not want to fall behind on Loki.
Yeah,
I fell behind on Bad Batch. I did get caught up on Bad Batch, but a lot of that was just because I worked my way to get caught back up, because I wanted to get caught back up, because it's Star Wars, I care about the universe.
yeah. Well, like
This,
it's the kind of thing of like with Samantha going to school and like our schedules readjusting and stuff with work. Like when I sit down and I'm like, all right, I have time to watch something. I'm not like I have to make time for Bad Batch. Where like everything else I want to watch, I will fit into the slots that I have,
yeah,
and then I have to make time. Like Bad Batch has been demoted to like I'll make time for this later.
I feel about Bad Batch the way I do about Resistance, Star Wars Resistance.
Yeah, I never finished Resistance.
I would say I think you should finish Resistance. Its second season is way stronger than its first.
I think I'm like
But
halfway through the first season.
yeah, But that being said, Resistance isn't necessarily a show that made me go, oh man, I watched it every week because it's Star Wars, not because I was like, oh god, I love this show.
Yeah.
And you know what? Resistance, I kind of gave a pass to on that because it was clearly aimed at a younger audience than they had aimed for with Clone Wars and Rebels. And so I always took it with like a bit of a, I am definitely like outside the age demo, because the thing Clone Wars and Rebels and Bad Batch would have an advantage on is almost like with Avatar: The Last Airbender, where yes, it is aimed at a younger audience, but there's enough there to where you can be an adult and there is enough world building, character, and story being told that it can interest you and keep you watching, even if you're not like the quote target demo. Resistance, not so much. Bad Batch, it isn't that they are aiming at a different demo, it's that the characters and story being told right now are less interesting than the world it's set in. And I think the reason why that headline with Polygon really resonated with me is because part of me feels like that was them wanting to play with this time period more so than having the characters to do it. Like, going back to when this first got announced, you and I were both like, this is a period where we want to see content, but this is also not the characters we'd want to see in it. And I've yet to be convinced that these are the characters that should have been it.
And again, I'm not saying they're bad characters. I like the characters.
Yeah,
It's
they've
the
actually
thing
grown
of like,
on me as the series has gone on, but they're
Yeah, it's
necessarily
just-
not.
it's just the thing of like, I'm not gonna go out and buy like these Bad Batch Funko Pops.
Yeah,
We're like, fucking, I have Sony Mandalorian Funko Pop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not. There's difference, right? There's a difference in like how the characters. Like, I like them just fine, but like they don't resonate with me in the same way.
yeah. Like, if someone offered us like the choice, like Ezra's lightsaber or Hunter's knife, like we would be like, why is that the choice? Like, it's Ezra's lightsaber.
Yeah. It's a gun. That's a lightsaber.
Yeah. I mean, beyond just the gun lightsaber aspect of it, but just from the character side of it.
Yes, I'm memeing at
Yeah,
that point, but yes,
I know, but
it is a gun that is a lightsaber.
But so it's just like, I mean, I'll watch season 2. I'm enjoying it. I'm sure it's getting enough views that Disney's fine with the numbers, but I wonder how much of it too is this isn't Filoni. Might be created by Filoni, but I don't think this is Filoni's ship.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder how much of it is just Lucasfilm Animation wanted to continue telling stories in this general time period, which and makes sense why you would want to do that. But
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if is Filoni just fully focused on his live action stuff, which by the way, there is pretty strong rumors that they are casting a live action Sabine, at which point we have to go, why not what's her name? Tia Sakar? Just cast her. She's done live action.
Yeah.
Just cast her. Just do it.
I still want that Rahu Kohli as Ezra casting because that seems badass to me.
Yeah, but anyway, this just doesn't grab you the way Clone Wars could and Rebels could.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, and I don't know if you saw this, so Disney Gallery, that second episode or the second season of a Disney Gallery that covered the second season of The Mandalorian. Little disappointing because they didn't go over that last episode and the Luke stuff at all.
They did only like one episode, right? But
so I don't know if you saw, but they're having a second episode come out on the 25th.
I saw that.
And it's
all
100%
about the final
focused
episode.
About that final episode. And so they put out a clip on YouTube. And I watched the clip and it just, God, Filoni's so good, man. He just gets it.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I haven't watched a clip. I just happened to see like news about Star Wars Gallery and I'm like, didn't we already get this? And then they're all talking about the Luke stuff. I'm like, oh, we didn't get this.
Yeah. So obviously
Um,
they were just teasing us a little bit with it, and now they're ready to go. But yeah, the the clip is basically just Filoni talking about what it means to be a part of something like this in a moment like this. You know, to be filming this Luke stuff and stuff like that, and like it's such a thing of he just gets it, man. He just gets and understands what's going on and like what fans want and what it means to people. So good.
yeah. No, I'm looking forward to watching that episode when it airs. So, got that to look forward to. But other
That's
than
also on
that,
Wednesday, man.
yeah, lots of busy Wednesday. But other than that, I think that does it. Look at us, Chris. We did it in under an hour, or
Look at
at
that.
around an hour.
Look at that. Actual watchable podcast format.
um, James, why don't we roll credits? Please like, share, subscribe, do all the fun things you're supposed to do on the interwebs. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always email us at feedback@quality3.net. You can find me on Twitter for the most part at Pseudomile. Chris is always on Twitter at KidLiquid. But please stay safe, take care, wear a mask because we're back to that. If you're unvaccinated, just get your goddamn motherfucking vaccine. No, please, just get it. And we'll see you guys not in 2 weeks because of Labor Day. So, yeah, 3 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. All right, take care, everyone.